Welcome back. Season 2 of the Between the Lines podcast. Myself and Myron are here. We started off season 1 with just us two. So we decided to start off season 2 with just us two. Seem about right?
Yep, that is about right.
I was making sure you were you were staring off into space.
No, I was staring into the camera with my dreads in my face, trying something new. Gotta get it up.
We decided to change it up to season number 2 just because of the fact, it's the new year, second semester now of school, so we just kind of decided to put it that way.
Yes, sir.
So I guess we maybe go with just the semesters of school of of quote unquote seasons.
Yeah, maybe. That works for me.
That works. So this is why episode 1 is our season 1 episode, season 2 episode. It's gonna get a little confusing. Just roll with us. But we start off before we start off every episode. Myron, how was the new year? How was everything been? Since coming back to school and as well as being crowned a national champion.
I'm glad you said that because I walked into the new year a national champion. I sit right here a national champion, and I'm gonna forever be a national champion. So I can't complain. School year has started off pretty well. Still being involved in a lot on campus, and things are going well. The same question goes to you. How are you doing? How's things going? How was the new year coming into your actual final semester here?
Yeah, my actual final semester before I become an adult. It's going good. I start off the new year in Nashville. Not New Year's itself, but the first weekend of New Year's. I spent it in Nashville with some work stuff for coaching for baseball. So that was pretty fun, pretty cool. Got to see one of my favorite players of all time, Manny Ramirez.
Okay. Take a picture with him?
I unfortunately got cut off. I was the last.
The bag.
I didn't drop the bag. What happened is that we were walking around in this convention center, right? So there's a bunch of booths, and you go buy stuff. I did spend a lot of money. Don't want to talk about this. Where I got this beanie at. I also have a hat that you've seen me wear now a lot. Same thing. Got that there. Ended up getting new batting gloves for softball, for men's league softball. Got a new fungo as well. I don't know if I got anything else. Oh, I got a coach's book and stuff like that to help me in games and stuff to take notes. But anyways, besides the point. So we were walking around, 44 gloves. I wore 44 gloves for my actual baseball season last year. And so I'm a huge fan of them. So I started walking past the booth, and there's just a bunch of people right around. There's a bunch of people standing around. I'm like, all right, is 44 gloves doing some sort of special deal right now? What's going on? And I look, and I'm like, the guys that I was with, my boss actually just goes, "Oh my God, there's Manny Ramirez." And I was like, "What?" And I kind of turned to look. I was like, "Oh my God, it's Manny Ramirez." He had his braids and stuff like that. He had a do-rag thing on. Great sunglasses. I think he was rocking Oakleys, I think, or whatever. He had a cool outfit, all black outfit. It was pretty sick. But he was taking pictures with a baby and stuff like that. He was taking pictures with people. So I got to get a picture with Manny Ramirez. He's one of my favorite players of all time.
Right.
Not my favorite player of all time, but one of my favorite players, right? Just because it's Manny being Manny.
Right.
So I walk around to the back of the line. I get in the back of the line. I'm standing there. I'm like, man, I got to get a picture, And my the 44 guy standing right in front of me just turns and goes, "I hate to do this, man, but the PR guy just told me to cut the line right here." So I lost out a chance of taking a picture with one of my idols and one of my favorite players growing up, watching him play with the Red Sox and the Dodgers. I know he played with the Indians, but mainly the Red Sox. You kind of know him, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
So I was the one person in line that I got cut off, and I just missed out on the chance of meeting Manny Ramirez. I still got to see him in person, which is great, which is cool and all. But yeah, missed out a chance of seeing Manny.
Look, like you said, you got to see him at the end of the day.
Did get to see him. Still a pretty cool event. Still pretty cool. Shout out to ABCA. They host a great event every single year, so shout out to them. And it was really fun being in Nashville and kind of seeing the whole city and being down there for the first time ever. Probably don't want to go back.
You don't want to go back. What do you mean?
I want to go back, but it's a weekend thing where you don't want to spend the entire weekend there. It's fun. It's fun for the time that you're down there, and then you realize, wow, I've spent a lot of money. Or I just need to get home.
I'm a broke college student.
I'm a broke college student.
No money's getting sent here.
I don't know why I'm spending this much money down here. But anyways, everything else was great. I mean, school started off so far good. Taking some weird classes like 3D art and art design. Doing some cool stuff here at the radio station. So get a look out for baseball games. There might be some stuff that's played during the baseball games that I created. That I helped work with the team. But as always, I think we should just jump right into it.
So, Jake, this is our second season here. This is a new semester. So I got to start off with this team we're going to sit here and talk about first. They come in ranked number 6 in the nation, right behind a CCIW foe who is ranked number 1 above them. But we're going to talk about men's volleyball, who swept this weekend, sweeping 2 teams here, Wittenberg 3-0 and also IIT 3-0. So this team is definitely on a roll early.
They're on a roll, and I think it's a good roll to be on, especially after dropping your first game of the season, which is they faced number 7 New Paltz, and they lost 1-3. They dropped that set, so you're ranked 6. You go face number 7 to open up the season. A lot of anticipation, a lot of things. Didn't fall the way the Cardinals wanted, but I mean, you come back home, or you stay at home. Realize that the game was at home, but you stay at home. You still got 2 games that you got to go through, and so sticking with that and sweeping, 2 teams to kind of get back in the win column and kind of get rolling again. I think it's going to set it up great. I mean, they have Aurora on Tuesday, where they travel to Aurora. At least the first away game's not super far, unlike how your guys' first away game was real far.
Shout out to Crawford, Indiana.
But then they have the number 12 ranked Dominican University. So they need at least one more win to kind of boost them up into that sort of, I guess, confidence, that feel good, that swagger that they had last year to come back again, and then go face another ranked opponent where you can see the rankings are probably maybe going to be shifted by that time. But facing number 12 is going to be a good test for them, and I think that they can easily stick it out with them. And talk about that number 1 Carthage. March 11th is when Carthage comes to town. I know that the NCC Nest hopefully shows out for that game. All the students and stuff like that show out, because that's going to be
it's a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a Saturday at 3. I mean, nobody's got nothing going on.
No classes.
Hopefully by then we're still top 5, close to maybe top 5.
I think we should be.
This team is going to be absolutely ridiculous this year. Again, last year they finished 19-5, and they ended off the year on a 2-game losing streak. They lost in the CCIW tournament to that number 1 team. Now Carthage last year, they went into and then they faced Dominican University last year in the NCAA tournament and lost. So a lot of revenge games coming up here on the schedule, and this revenge tour for the North Central Cardinals hopefully will fall in their way.
Definitely. Like you said, it's early. They're on the roll early, so it's okay. You lose that first one, get the first game of the year jitters out. So I think they're going to continue to improve, like anticipating for that matchup on March 11th versus that Carthage team, because they're going to show them like this isn't the same team as last year. This team is being led a little bit different, and we're going to try be a little more harder to beat. So just be prepared. The next team we're going to move on is to men's basketball, who unfortunately lost to North Park 79-65, falling to 10-7 and on the year and 5-4 in the conference. Mitch Lewis scored 27 points in 22 minutes, with Matt Hallowig following him right behind, scoring 14 points, and Ethan following that up with 7 points as well. This men's basketball team has had a lot of ups and downs so far this year. There's a lot of bright spots. Mitch Lewis has definitely stepped his game up.
Still don't know why he's not starting.
He started this year not really getting that much playing time, and so it was really interesting to see him starting to pick up that role of possibly being the third guy that they can feed on and feed into, and they can drive. Where Matt and Ethan, they both they didn't have a really good of a game here, but you got to need somebody else that's going to be that spark plug, especially if both of them or even one of them can't get it going that night. So this is interesting. They almost had a comeback, but it ended up falling short. But they still have a long ways to go.
They still got a long ways to go. And for Mitch Lewis, I mean, he joined in, the squad and started playing, beginning of December. So, already games some played under the belt of some of these guys, and you're trying to find a way to get in that rotation, get in the starting lineup, and he's kind of pushed it to a point now where he's getting about 20 something minutes a game, 22 minutes a game. He looks like he's going to be the sixth man off the bench as of right now. But maybe trying to find him a solidified spot in that starting lineup to maybe bump up his minutes even more from 22 to close to 30 is something that they're really going to need to consider, because 27, dropping a double-double off the bench is very difficult, but being that focal point, being a game changer is something that you're going to want to see. I know that we talked about it earlier, how we were looking for that third guy. We've been looking for that third guy. We talked about it all last semester, at the end of last semester. Where's that third guy? Where's that third guy? I think this is the third guy. I think if both Hellwigs are on their game and not shooting terribly, Mitch Lewis being that third guy, being that third option,
to take the heat and weight off their shoulders,
is going to take this team and propel it to new heights and turn around this up and down season to being a very good season. And you can turn around the CCIW standings, because at this point you just want to be the higher seed in the CCIW tournament. That's all you really want to be. I know going into this year they were projected a lot of time. They're projected, and we talked about how this could be a team that's going to maybe host the CCIW tournament. This is a team that can make a running for that third or second seed, and it's at the point where it's let's just try to get the highest seed as possible, get as much of those non-conference victories as possible. I think it's only I believe though it's only conference play for the rest of the season, but with Marion, so you need to still beat Marion at the end of the year, but getting these couple of victories here and then boosting yourself up to face that number 18 Wheaton College at the end of the year.
Again, they gave Wheaton a run for their money when they played them earlier this year. They only lost by 5 points. Yep. 6 points would have won them the game, but losing by 5, Mitch has finally got in his role after that game. That's the first game where he really set himself apart from others. He scored 20 points there, and that was a big showing for him, and it showed that he can step up when push comes to shove in big games. So it's people don't really know that he's only averaging 16 points a game.
But his last 3 is 20 points, 20 points, 27 points.
Yes, so he showed up when it counted. Sometimes it may not show up on the game-winning side, but he showed that he can be that guy.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very good game. He's got to start. I feel like he's got to start in that game against Wheaton.
I think so.
He's got to have the most. Yes, he's got to have the most minutes as possible that he can be to establish himself there. And then again, taking pressure off the Hellwig brothers is something that we've been looking for, and I think they've been looking for a little bit, because last year they had Blaze and the Hellwig brothers. When Blaze was going off, it means the Hellwig brothers were getting double teamed, but then when Blaze was getting double teamed, the Hellwig brothers were going off.
Right.
And that's how we won games. You throw Mitch Lewis now in that rotation. Mitch Lewis gets double teamed down low. He's going to kick it back out to Hellwig brothers. They're open. And, when they're on fire, they're on fire.
They're on fire.
So that's all it is. I feel like it's just a little bit of a rotation change. I know that Mitch is, getting back into the swing of things still. But by that time when they face off against Wheaton College, at Wheaton College on February 8th, I feel like Mitch Lewis needs to be in the starting lineup.
I think he will. We're going to keep it in the realm of basketball here. We're going to move on to women's basketball, who also played North Park, winning 62-55, improving to 5-12 on the year and 2-7 in the conference. This was a big game here. Tree Smith dropped 19 points. She's dominating. I feel like if when they're hot, when they're doing good, she's doing good. And a lot of people overlook Trees because she's on and off. Sometimes she's hurt. But there's definitely times where she has proven that she can be the go-to person. Elmhurst, she dropped 23. The first game of the season, she dropped 14. The game versus Illinois Wesleyan, she dropped 16. So it's just it's at Spurs and at times where she shows up. When she shows up, they dominate and they win these games. So they need to have her to be a little bit more consistent. And I definitely think she will be. She's definitely going to get there. She has all the confidence in the world. The girls believe in her. And this was a big game for her. And this showed that she can continue to be that dominating presence that this girls team, this women's team needs. And we're going to continue to see it.
Remember when we talked about how it was just one quarter always with them?
Yep.
They switched it around. They outscored North Park 22-6 in the second quarter. We talked about it earlier. There was one quarter usually in this game where, North Central just couldn't shoot the basketball or couldn't defend, right? And it was one of those quarters. This time, if they flipped it and they came out in that second quarter, after being down 10-7, they came out and they put up 22 and a quarter. You put up 22 and a quarter, you're gonna.
Oh, you should dominate. Yes,
should dominate, and also should be on the right end of the score at the end of the game. And so, even with that dominating performance in the second quarter, they still, kept the foot on the gas, I would say. Natalie Servopoulos has got 16 points in that game. Allison Pearson, the league scorer last year, has 11. She's been up and down a little bit, but, take a little bit of pressure off her. Having Maitree Smith, get 19 points and kind of do her thing, it's going to open the floor for everybody else, and that's why you see Natalie and Allison, getting over 10 points as well. Megan Duffy had 9 points as well off the bench, so that's always a good rotation. Having that second unit, having someone in that second unit being a scorer there. So this team's kind of figuring out a little bit. They snapped their losing streak that they were on, which is good, which is always good to do. And now you just kind of keep that momentum going.
You're still in CCIW play. This next game up against Wheaton, this gonna continue to show how much fight is left in the tank for these girls here, and I definitely think the coaching staff are getting them mentally prepared, along with physically prepared for the next few games they have to play. I know it's majority of it's in the CCIW, so there was a little different playing in the CCIW. And I know their record doesn't always show that, but there is a lot of dog fight in these girls here. So we're going to say we're proud of them and to keep it going. There's definitely a lot of improvement to do. And I also think that if they get into the tournament and they're on the hot streak that they can definitely get to, no team in the CCIW wants to see them.
No team. They could be that dark horse. The team is going to ruin somebody's chances. Go into the dance or something. But let's move over to men's wrestling because they just claimed their second straight CCIW title.
2 in a row.
2 in a row. They went on 3 straight dominating wins. They ended up facing off against Milliken right before the CCIW duels. They won 40-2 versus Milliken. They were ranked, by the way, Milliken was number 19th. So that's what they do to rank teams. That's what they do to rank teams. And then they have going out against the CCIW duels where they ended up facing the Milwaukee School of Engineering where they ended up, it was a little bit closer. 39-12 though, but still a little bit closer. And then they have getting a 40-point victory over Concordia University of Wisconsin, and also in the CCIW 49-6, and then they end up claiming the CCIW crown there. They have the Pete Wilson Invitationals on January 27th through the 28th at Wheaton, so not that far of a drive. And then they have the CCIW Championships, which we are hosting because we're CCIW champs, hosted by North Central College, February 9th. That's always great to have, not to travel.
Yeah, when you get CCIW. Home, you get the home field advantage.
It's not field, though. Home mat. Stadium. I guess stadium.
I mean, you get what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
The same feeling, the same presence, and the same concept.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I
don't think a lot of people know this. How many consecutive dual CCIW matches have the men won? Can you guess it? It's a pretty high number.
I'll say 30, 35, 34.
Unfortunately, you're not correct, but you're very, very close. The men's have not lost since January 10th of 2017. They have
before I got here.
They have won 42 consecutive CCIW dual matches.
That was before I got here. God dang.
That is a very long time.
Come on.
When they lost to Elmhurst that day, 20-19. That was the last time. So
you're saying before I even got to school, 5th year by the way, before I got to school is when the last time they lost.
CCI duels, yes.
Nobody's touching this program.
42 consecutive CCI duels.
No one's touching the program.
They haven't lost since 2017 to a CCIW opponent.
Absolutely insane. As
a team.
I know. I said it's absolutely insane. Ridiculous.
To the coaching staff and the players, outstanding job.
Yeah, congratulations to
keep it going.
Everyone in the program. I know that it's absolutely insane to go on that sort of a stretch and keep it going. But being undefeated in conference and kind of doing their thing is absolutely legendary. That the kind of things that they're doing is absolutely legendary. Would say so myself.
Definitely, and the women's team just was ranked number 1 in the D3. Well, not even the D3 world, but in the National Women's Wrestling Association rankings. That is a big accomplishment because they were number 2.
Yeah, so
for a while.
We were kind of wrong in our prediction beginning of the year. We did talk about how this team was going to be ranked number 1 very soon. That soon came about, a month or 2 later?
Yeah.
But hey, we said at the beginning of the year that this team would be ranked number 1 at some point. There was too much talent on this team. We talk about the class, the recruiting class that they came in. I almost said just the weight class, but the recruiting class that came in, they were number 2 there in all of women's wrestling, and now here they are at number 1 in division in the National Wrestling Coaching Association for Division 3.
I'm gonna say there isn't really a division for women's wrestling because they wrestle from people from Northwestern Arizona, so it's like it's a little bit all over the place here, and it's still a outstanding thing. These girls are continuing to dominate. They're upsetting people that a lot of people didn't think they would be upsetted, and there are a lot of girls are here making a name for themselves, moving up in their ranking class, trying to catch people who are above them. There's a lot of hard work and dedication within the wrestling team, both men's and women's, that has paid off and has shown on both sides that the coaches know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing, and I know that they're just coming off of a very close match with the former number 1 ranked King University in Tennessee. They lost by 2 there in that points. They went down to Louisville, Kentucky for the NWCA National Duels. They lost in the first place. They took second there. But they're coming back now home. They have the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, and then they have the CCIW championships. I mean, the way they've been doing, the number 1 ranked in the nation. I think that should be a easy walk in the park. And then they have the Bearcat Open, and then they have the regionals and national championships, all that stuff, all that fun stuff to do. But I mean, hey, they've only lost 1 match all year, and they lost it by 2 to the number 2 team now. I know that they're ranked number 1 for duels, but the number 2 team in the overall rankings, I mean, it's pretty impressive. The streak that these 2 programs are going on, men's and women's,
right,
of how dominant they are.
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm looking at it right now. It is kind of weird how they do have this set up where they have 2 different rankings. Like you said, they're number 2 in duels, but they're number 1 in overall based off points. So it's kind of weird. So it's like really can't say who's 1 and 1, but who's 2 and 2. But realistically,
it's pretty much 1A, 1B at this point. It's like you guys with last year with Mary Hart and Baylor, how you guys were literally going back and forth with that number 1 ranking all year long. It's like the committee couldn't decide who was 1 or 1A, 1B. It was like these are the teams that are great. For here, it's the same thing, 1A, 1B. It's all because King is only, which I think is a little unfortunate. King is only faced in 5 duels. They're 5-0. North Central's 14-1. So who's really truly number 1?
Yeah, it should be North Central.
It should be North Central just because,
rigged here, but
not rigged, but the matter of fact of just the North Central.
Like that.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to start any allegations.
No, we're not starting anything. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that it's just unfortunate that North Central went on a 14-0. Was 14-0 in overall dual meets, and then now. They take a loss. That King jumps up to 1 there. But, hey, 107 points so far for the team. King, again, in second place with 102. So we'll really say 1A, 1B. It's really 1A, 1B. What do you got? Congratulations to the Cardinals, the women's wrestling program, for getting that number one spot that they've deserved all year long, and that, me and Myron have been talking about how this team should be ranked number one, and now it's finally happened. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to the men's again for winning the CCIW, going back-to-back CCIW championships, and also continuing the CCIW duels meet streak, because that is still insane.
You know what time of the year it is? It's getting a little warmer outside. It's currently cold.
It's cold today.
This sport here,
I don't know what you're talking about.
This sport here can be done outside and indoor.
Okay.
The next, we're going to talk about women's track and field, where two of these young ladies broke their records, like personal best records.
So did they have the school record and they just broke it again?
Yeah. Both of them had owned the record at the time. So the first young lady we're going to sit here and talk about is Alexandria Draves, who claimed her own varsity record with a throw in the weight throw. If anybody don't know what it is, it's a ball in a cubby hole, and you spin and you throw it. That's the best explanation I can give you. She threw 58 feet 9.5 inches, which comes out to be 17.92 meters.
Is that far?
That's far.
Okay.
That's actually far. Like 58 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's far.
From where the ring is, it's pretty far. And Lindsay Novak hit a stellar in her 200-meter dash, clocking in at 25.37 seconds, and also winning the event as well. They also had a good team showing. They won the meet with 204 points, with the next team coming in not really even close, at 154, which is Carthage.
Dang.
This is early, and this is hopefully going to continue. I think that this team is going to be led by upperclassmen. There's a lot of them coming back. There's a lot of young faces here as well that people need to be recognized, that this women's track and field team is nothing to be played with. I think they can go back and win the CCIW indoor and outdoor. I think they can do it, and possibly send some people to some national events here. So,
do you remember how many people went last year
to nationals?
Yeah, for them.
Alex, Julia, Denise, and then Lindsay. Did Lindsay make it?
So you're looking at about 4 or 5, but you think that this year they can send more?
I think they can send more.
Okay.
I don't quote me on that. I don't necessarily remember off the top of my head, but from when I was there, I know Julia won. She won the nationals.
Yep.
Alex should have thrown, because she was top 10 in the nation at the time.
Well, she just broke another record, so she's probably top 10 again.
She's top 3 right now. So I think they can send more. I think they can probably get a relay team in there. Or if not, maybe send some distance girls down there. So I think it's possible.
They have the Warhawk Classic Combine event this weekend up in Whitewater. So that's where they will be, up there for that indoor event. And that, it's a pretty good place inside. Inside Whitewater there. But I mean, congratulations to these two girls. They're breaking a school record, but it's also, it's technically my record. So
your record.
They broke their own record. They broke their own record, which is also pretty cool to say. Yeah, that's amazing just to see that they're still dominating, and even this early in the season, you're already breaking records. I don't know, is that a good thing in track and field that you're breaking these records early in the year, or do you want to kind of not really build up, but kind of at a later year be hitting those marks?
Well, in track and field, you kind of want to hit the mark early, because if you hit it, you already know you can qualify, or you make it into because there's qualifying times to make it into nationals, or to make it into certain things. So if you hit it early, you're automatically going to be in. But now that's a just improvement point. You know you can hit it, and you can get faster. If you start this way, that means by the time you get to that next, maybe not the next exact race, but as you continue to progress in your training, you should get faster by the time that the championship comes around, or different things. So it's that's a good way to show up early and often, because that has shown all the training she's put in paid off until that point where she broke the record again. So now she has to continue to put that effort in to continue to break her records.
Gotcha. Because I always feel like if you break a record this early, right, 58 feet, 58 foot 9.5 inches, right, toss, your next toss I feel like, we breaking it that early, it needs to be 59 feet, right?
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way.
That doesn't always work out that way. So I was like, I never knew if you like wanted to slowly build up. Like you're looking at hitting like maybe 55, then 56, then like slowly. So at the end of the year, you get your best throws in or your best times in, especially hitting that CCIW, the qualifiers, and going into nationals. You want to hit those PRs at that point. But I like the way you kind of said it's like, all right, I've hit that, so I know I can do it.
No, you could do better, and you can continue to hit that.
It becomes more of a mental thing at that point, because your body already says that you can do it. Now it's just like repeating that every single time.
I mean, you do so much training in a week for 10 seconds, for 25 seconds.
Yeah, which is
for one time a week.
Very weird to think about. As like somebody that's a baseball player that prepares for a 9-inning game, a 3-hour-long game. I mean, you prepare for how long? 3 hours, 2 hours? Football?
I mean, it depends.
Depends on the day. It depends on how many points you guys put up. But
it really does.
You guys prep for that long, right, of a game, and then they literally prep for
years. Usain Bolt prepped for like 10 years for one race.
It's not technically one race because he's got to hit qualifiers. He's got to do the heats.
But for that moment, he trained for 10 years.
Yeah, for a 9. What is it? 9.7. I think.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's
absolutely ridiculous. Fast. But he prepped for that. It's insane, absolutely insane. That is why I'm no longer doing. I stopped track and field in high school.
You were slow.
I was not slow.
You were slow is what you're saying.
I'm not slow.
It's okay.
You know me. I'm not. Moving over from women's track and field to men's track and field, they ended up having, probably need to find another word for it other than dominate. They had 259 points in the Snow Day Invitational, and won 7 events. 259 points. The second place team, Carthage, had 142. So, beating them by over 100 points is absolutely insane, absolutely ridiculous. Again, 7 event wins is still crazy in my mind. It's still insane.
Yeah, it is. I feel like this team is going to dominate looking into this season as it's right around the corner. There's a lot of teams that should be scared, a little nervous for the Cardinals to come compete at their events. The next event is the Warhawk Classic Combine event, and then they go to Aurora University. Then they have the Carthage College Combine event, and then they have Oliver Nazareth University. So those 4 events there in the next couple of weeks. Be a little nervous if I was in those events and in those meets, because these teams, men's and women's, are both looking to secure a CCIW championship. Definitely.
And then send a bunch of people to
nationals.
Let's
do it.
Let's move on from North Central Sports. That's all we have today for North Central Corner.
Going into the world of NFL, and the playoffs are upon us. And if you have been watching, there has been a lot of great games over this playoff run. The KC and the Jags, Philly and New York, Buffalo and Cincinnati, and Dallas versus San Francisco. Those 4 games have been outstanding going into this last 3 weeks of the NFL season. I still want to know your opinion, so comment below on your opinion of how the playoffs have went for you, for your friends a little bit. And then we just want to get that little background of what's really going on in people's mind as the playoffs are continuing to go. Are they rigged? We don't know.
Okay. Just because of what Trevor Lawrence said at the first round. But,
I'm just saying.
I guess we can go through so far. Bears got the number 1 overall pick, so
shout out to the Bears.
Shout out
Bears.
Shout out to the tank that has now been successful.
For the first time in forever.
So get that number 1 overall pick. I don't know what they're going to do with it. We'll talk about it later when it gets closer to the draft, what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And hopefully they just don't trade it that early, and hopefully they fill out all the offers before making any sort of moves that they want to do. The wild card round saw the Chargers literally blow the biggest lead I probably have ever seen in a game, especially after a quarterback throwing 4 interceptions to start the game of Trevor Lawrence. There was a whole thing going on about how Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday in high school, college, and the NFL.
Until this past week.
Yeah, this past week they ended up losing. Before that, it was like, he's never lost. And then he goes out there and throws 4 interceptions in the first half. He then came back and threw for 4 touchdowns and won the game.
Look, it's crazy how time...
It's crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. About those, that game was and everything like that. And then you go from the divisional round, from that wild card game, you have Buffalo and Miami, and how Buffalo started off great, and then Josh Allen threw, had a couple turnovers on downs, and next thing you know, they're only up by 3 points.
Man.
So it's like, okay, what's happening?
They probably should have lost that game.
Probably, maybe should have lost that game, but they fought back. They continued to drive down that field. Brock Purdy, 8-0 in his career right now.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Mr. Irrelevant. Great story. Absolutely destroyed the Seahawks 41-23.
If he gets them to the Super Bowl.
He's got 1 game left. Giants and Vikings. Giants pulled off the upset on the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is, again, primetime Kirk just blows another game.
I want a new contract. No cap.
Bengals and Ravens. Joey Burrow.
Joey, Mr. I don't care. Yes.
Snowbird, I don't even know. There's like 1,000 nicknames for this dude.
Joey Ice.
Joey Ice.
You feel me?
They ended up facing Baltimore, who didn't have Lamar Jackson, so it was kind of a nice little easy victory, in my opinion, for them there. And then the Cowboys, Dak Prescott had his best game of his Cowboy career, all to do what he did against the 49ers the following week.
Absolutely embarrassing. Like, what, 2 picks in the first half?
I think it was 2 picks. Yeah, both of them were in the first half.
If it wasn't in the first half, it was one at the end of in the third or fourth quarter. It was just like, dude, are you okay?
Tony Pollard destroyed his leg. He got rolled up on it, and it was broken. It was a bad injury. Dude, this team just finds some way. Cowboys are going to Cowboys every year. We say this. We say this every year.
Michael Irvin, you give them too much credit, my guy.
Are going to Cowboys. Zeke Elliott. 10 carries, 26 yards. And Tony Pollard only had 22 before his injury. CeeDee Lamb is him, but then there's nobody else.
Zeke found out what it's like to play offensive line. They did him wrong at the end of the game.
I will have to say, it was a good idea in the sense of trying to put all of your best skill players out there.
You need to put offensive line out there. I'm sorry.
Just don't have Zeke Elliott snap the ball. Let's just not have that.
They embarrassed him. They blew him up.
I think what it was is that they did it all week and no one probably blew up Zeke, right?
Yeah.
They performed that play probably a lot or throughout the year. No one went after Zeke. So Zeke snapped the ball and they kind of just stood up and he was like, all right, like,
what am I doing here?
Let's just do this. And then Fred Warner was like, no, I'm going to go for the quarterback, man. Yeah. Just bull rushes.
No one's there to block me?
Bull rushes Zeke. It was not a good look for Zeke. He's one of the highest paid running backs in the league, and all he goes in there for his 3-down runs. I think he needs to leave.
I think he needs a new change of scenery, just like Christian McCaffrey got.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's just a new change of scenery because you've seen flashes and sparks of him.
Yes, he can be the Zeke of old, but like this offensive line is just not what it used to be.
No. It is not. Again, Dak did
Dak things.
Unfortunately. Did Dak things. And
you miss, 9 games in a year, and you still throw the most interceptions in the league is horrendous.
Yeah,
horrendous as a quarterback. How?
I think this team just, I don't think it's Mike McCarthy's fault. I think there's going to be some coordinator changes. I don't think that it was,
the defense played fine.
Fully on Dak. Yeah, and the defense played fine. I don't think it's really fully.
You gave them 19 points.
Yeah, I think there was an overall just effort on the offensive side of the football that just did not look like it was there. They scored 1 touchdown in the second quarter, and it was like, okay, great. Like this is what we wanted to see. The Cowboys coming out and having a very good possession, and the 49ers are just sitting there, constantly kicking field goals throughout the first half, and it's like, and then they don't score in the third quarter. It's like, okay, this game still is our chance, this opportunity, and they just did not take any advantages of anything they got. And so the Cowboys are going to Cowboys every single year, and I think you're going to see a couple of changes. I don't think Mike McCarthy's gone. I don't.
No, he's not firing.
He had two 12-win seasons. He had a first playoff victory for them in a long time.
Since 1992. Like, he's not getting fired.
I don't think he should.
I think they changed their offensive coordinator.
He should have gotten a head coaching job last year. Kellen Moore.
I think he should be fired.
I don't think he's going to come back as an offensive coordinator.
If he doesn't, he's going to be either a head coach or he's going to be at the crib somewhere.
Dan Quinn, I mean, I don't think he wants to be a head coach again, but he can be a head coach again because of how great that defense looked throughout the entirety of the year and what he's done.
I just hate the league continues to use the same coaches over and over and over and over.
There will be some
stop giving them chances.
That's why I don't think he wants another chance. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he wants one. I think he wants to stay as a defensive coordinator because of how easier the job is.
It is because it's not that much of a stress load. You don't got to manage the game.
Yeah.
You don't got to tell people where to be, what to do. Yeah.
But on the 49ers side, there's a reason why they traded for Christian McCaffrey, and there's a reason why this team, is such a good system to be in. Mm-hmm. Just because Brock Purdy, I mean, he went 19 for 29, didn't have a really great showing, didn't throw a pick, but it was just get the job done. Just keep moving football. Just keep moving the football. Keep moving the football. And finally, at the end of the game, you get that late touchdown for the victory, and that's how you do it. George Kittle he was great. At the end of the
George Kittle was George Kittle.
George Kittle was George Kittle, but at the end of the game, he was
Ryan Pace. You drafted Adam Shaheen in the second round. Oh my God, he was drafted in the 5th.
Yeah, we keep going back down that. But yeah. That was kind of the main big game this entire weekend. With the divisional round. Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, hopefully he's going to be okay. It looks like he's going to be okay. Eagles are just Eagles are just Eagles. And again, Joey Burrow, we talked about it, he's just Joey Ice. He's going to win. He finds every way to win. Bills need to figure something out.
Yeah.
Because they keep choking the playoffs. They need to figure something out.
Before we close out this episode.
Well, we got to pick the games, man.
No, I know. That's what I was exactly about to ask you.
Okay, cool. All right.
Before we close out the game, this episode, our second season, who do you have making it to the Super Bowl?
I got big Brock Purdy, 49ers. I think that defense is going to show up and show out. And Joe Burrow, I feel like I'm going to jinx it, but Joe Burrow hasn't lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So give me 49ers and Bengals.
Well, for me, it's hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? No, I'm going with the Eagles over the 49ers. Come on now. Jalen Hurts has been playing out his mind. He was hurt the last few games of the season. That's okay.
Yeah.
But if he had played, he was going to win the MVP, 100%. And he showed them. He showed why. I think for the Bengals and Chiefs,
I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to win MVP.
I said if he did play.
No.
He didn't play the last 2 games, like the last 4 games of the season.
Mahomes was about almost 2,000 yards ahead of him in passing.
He didn't play the last 4 games of the season. How are you going to compare stats?
I know.
Yes, okay. 400 yards a game, but he also rushes too.
Yeah, I know. He also rushes too.
So that it kind of upsets there, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But between the Chiefs and the Bengals, this one's really hard for me. In my opinion, I would love to see Joey Burrow finally be the first Heisman to ever win a Super Bowl. But Patrick Mahomes, if he's healthy and 100% healthy,
he's not going to be 100%.
If they get to him early and often, this game is going to be not what we think it's going to be. It's going to be all Bengals. So I'm going Bengals and Eagles.
I mean, the Bengals rush 3 guys, and somehow they look like they're rushing 5. That's how they get to the quarterback. They rush 3 guys.
What they run, a 3-3-5? This ain't college. TCU learn better.
They got 3-4.
All right.
It's mainly 3-4.
3-4 is better than 3-3-5.
It's mainly 3-4. It's mainly 3-4.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mainly 3-4. But again, they've normally just rushed 3 guys. That's what they did against Buffalo. They rushed 3 guys majority of the time, and they got after Josh Allen. So again,
And they sent blitzes. Oh my God, the blitzes they were sending.
Yeah.
The skies. They also wore a white jersey, so it is
was
kind of
pretty
hard
cool.
to see.
Okay. Well, it wasn't snowing that bad, all right? It wasn't snowing that bad.
I mean, Stephon Diggs were nowhere to be found. He's
That's
still
true.
standing on the edge of the field, looking at them celebrate. 3 years in a row.
But yeah, Bengals, either at Bengals 49ers, I think it's going to be a very good game. I feel like that would be a good Super Bowl. And then for you with the Eagles.
I feel like Eagles Bengals is a good Super Bowl. I'm sorry, Patrick. You're 27. You've made it this far.
You got $500 million.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
You're
for life.
owner of 3. You're owner. Yeah, I think he has owner stake in the Royals and the soccer team, and then I think eventually will become an owner of the Chiefs.
He might be.
So
And he also what?
You're gonna do great in
How many
life.
Super Bowl rings do you have? 2?
one
He has 1.
Super Bowl. He's been
made-
to 2. He's been to 2 of them.
Yeah, he beat Brady the first time.
No, he beat the 49ers.
Oh, yeah,
lost to Brady. Beat the 49ers. Lost to Brady.
And hasn't won the last 3 years.
Hasn't won the last 3 years, but he's still. It doesn't matter because he's got $500 million.
Yeah, literally.
He's got a couple. He's gonna get an MVP this year. He's gonna have a couple MVPs. Like
When his contract
It's
is
gonna
up
be
in 10
ridiculous.
years,
It's gonna be
he's
ridiculous.
going to get another 10-year deal.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. But yeah, I think 49ers and Bengals is gonna be a good one. And then you have Eagles and Eagles and Bengals. I was about to say you have Eagles and 49ers in the Super Bowl because
How?
I'm looking at the game and I was like, wait a minute, that's not possible. But I think it's gonna be good. I just don't want to see a blowout. That's all.
I feel like either way, I'm
not talking about
if
Super
the
Bowl. I'm talking about like
49ers
these 2 games. I'm talking about these 2 games. Like, I don't want to see a
The only
blowout.
way this becomes a blowout for either game is if whoever quarterback makes the most mistakes early. And defense, I feel like both the Eagles and this is going to be a defensive game.
I
The
think
Eagles
it's
and
gonna be
49ers?
a repeat of what Dallas and
The 49ers just have. I feel like
just had because both of them were top 5 defenses. 49ers being number 1. Dallas, I think, ranked. Actually, could be wrong. They could have been like 8th, but still,
They were getting that. They were like number 1 in like
I think
pass rush or pressure. Or
that's
something
what I'm
like that.
saying. I think they were top 5. I think they were at least top 5. And then the Eagles are the second best defense. So you literally have the top 2 defenses going up against each other versus the one of the top offenses with the Eagles. And the 49ers have so many weapons that Brock Purdy just needs to throw the ball 5 yards, and that's it.
Get your athletes in space. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And then on the Bengals side of the Bengals side of the game, you know, I mean, you have 2 of the best offenses in the league. I mean, it's just what defense is going to crack first.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's because if you can get one stop, if the Bengals can get one stop on the Chiefs, it's over for the Chiefs, I feel like. And then if the Chiefs can get one stop on the Bengals, it's over for the Bengals. These 2 offenses can quite literally have a shootout. So we will have a defensive game, I believe, and then we will have a shootout in the next
Because the
game.
Bengals and Chiefs defenses are just burnt toast.
Yeah, the secondary for the Bengals is pretty burnt.
Eli toast apple.
Yeah, but the Chiefs, it's even worse. So, I mean, I think it's going to be shootouts. I think it's going to be a defensive game. I still have 49ers and Bengals. You have Philadelphia and the Bengals. So, at least we got one team that we will be rooting for on Sunday that we can both agree on is the Bengals and Joey Burr.
Burr.
I want to thank everyone for... I want to thank everyone for last season that came out again. I want to thank, hopefully good things are going to happen for the rest of the year on this podcast. We have some good guests lined up, some people lined up already, so we're on top of everything going forward. And let's go 49ers, let's go Bengals, huh?
Football. Yeah. That's all I had to say, but... You know the vibe. You know how we typically end things. And Jake,
Are you going to change it up for season 2 or no?
let me get a drum roll, please. And that's a wrap.